Welcome to Three Big Ideas, part of the Minnesota Board of Water and Soil Resources One Watershed, One Plan program video series. In this module, we will expand on the three big ideas introduced in the What is One Watershed, One Plan module. This program is about developing local plans that address the needs of natural resources and the values and priorities of the participating government partners. Its foundation is in three big ideas that are transforming how we manage water in Minnesota. I'll talk briefly about each of these in this introductory presentation. The first big idea is working together on local issues. One Watershed, One Plan is built on the idea that the health of our waters is directly connected to what happens on the land. Minnesota's cleanest waters are in areas where forests and grasslands are intact. On the other hand, more intensive land use increases runoff and associated pollution, as well as concerns about groundwater sustainability. These problems directly affect quality of life concerns local governments deal with on a daily basis. For example, counties deal with public health, public safety, transportation, drainage, protecting property values, and many other water-related matters. Keeping in mind that land-water connection, many of the solutions lie on the land, not in the water. Zoning, regulations, and other land management programs are important tools for counties. Much of the land in Minnesota is privately owned, so restoration and protection often happens by working with private landowners who voluntarily participate in conservation programs or do land management on their own. That's the strength of soil and water conservation districts, who provide technical and financial help to property owners. This help not only solves a problem or creates an opportunity for property owners, but it is also one of the best ways to solve water issues downstream. Watershed districts, where they exist in Minnesota, manage drainage and water levels, regulate certain activities, work with partners to build large-scale restoration projects, and work with communities to manage stormwater, groundwater, aquatic invasive species, and more. Regardless of which type of local government is doing the work, all of it is done with people. And it benefits people and communities and economies and the ecosystems we all rely on. The local water issues I just discussed get addressed through local powers and authorities, each granted in Minnesota statutes to local governments. Those statutes allow counties to raise ad valorem taxes for revenue. Counties can also receive funding through grants and other mechanisms. Similarly, watershed districts can levy taxes and receive grants. While soil and water conservation districts can also receive grants, they rely on county funds allocated by county boards to do their important job. They have no authority to raise funds on their own. Traditionally, each of these local governments has established a plan for their jurisdiction, laying out what activities they will do regarding their duties with their statutory power and funding sources. The big idea behind One Watershed, One Plan is that these groups come together with their unique powers, authorities, funding mechanisms, and skills to identify and work towards a shared vision and goals. Note that municipal and tribal governments may also be decision makers in this process. The second big idea in One Watershed, One Plan is going with the flow. This is a map of the United States showing the country's river and stream networks and the lands that drain to them, the United Watersheds of America. The point of this image is that water flows according to high and low points on the land, not political boundaries. Speaking of political boundaries, this drawing approximates all the counties that have land draining to the Long Prairie River in central Minnesota. In the past, we've managed water on a county-by-county basis, not according to the high and low points on the land. The arrows represent the flow of water across county boundaries. Because of how water flows, all of these counties export water and potential water problems downstream to at least one neighboring county. All but one county receives water from an upstream neighbor. The county-by-county water management model has never accounted for this or allowed for conversations between upstream and downstream neighbors whose actions affect one another. The idea of going with the flow is that by planning along watershed boundaries, we can allow local and tribal governments to have important conversations about managing water together. Bowser has suggested approximately 60 watershed-based planning boundaries, and as of November 2020, 38 partnerships of local and tribal governments are participating in the program. The 2008 passage of the Clean Water, Land, and Legacy Amendment is a major driver of this program. One big reason people voted for the amendment was to ensure clean, safe, and sustainable water for all Minnesotans and for the ecosystems that rely on it. The amendment highlights our dual challenge. First, Minnesota's water restoration and protection needs are far greater than the state dollars available to address them. Second, Minnesotans expect to see measurable progress toward clean water, especially before the amendment expires in 2034. Which leads us to the third big idea behind One Watershed, One Plan: making choices to show results. In order to make meaningful progress toward their shared goals, planning partnerships will need to do three main things. First, prioritize, which means strategically deploying resources to the areas and issues that matter most to local communities. Watershed science and local opinions will guide decisions about priorities. Second, target, which is to use the most effective means of solving the problem by putting the right practice, policy, or program in the right place at the right time through targeted implementation in those priority areas. Third, measure your results and show the public you've invested their money well. Here's a review of the three big ideas behind the One Watershed, One Plan program. You can learn more in the Brief History of Water Management in Minnesota and Making Choices to Show Results modules. Thank you for watching Three Big Ideas. Check out our other modules to learn more about the One Watershed, One Plan program.